A core principle of fundraising success is to make the donor the hero of the story. So I'm going to call this donor positioning, and it's how to position a donor in a fundraising story. Story is so essential to fundraising, and it's so essential to who we are as fundraisers. Patrick Rothfuss said this great quote. It's like everyone tells a story about themselves inside their own head, always, all the time. That story makes you what you are. We build ourselves out of that story. And so we want to position the donor inside your fundraising story. And the question, of course, is how do we do that? You're often told, make the donor the hero of the story, but how do you do that practically? How do you do that in the content that you're writing? So today we're going to talk about that. And one of the frameworks that you can use when you're building out fundraising stories is called the hero's journey. And so you may have heard of StoryBrand. It's based on the hero's journey. The hero's journey is something that's used in great films, in great books, and it's super repeatable. And so when you break it down, the part of the hero's story, and there's many parts that go into a fundraising story, and there's many parts where you're going to position the donor as a hero. But for the sake of this training video, where the donor's story is inside that mentor area, and you're going to make the organization the mentor for the donor who's the hero of the story. So donor positioning. So let's take an example here, and let's look at this example. This is similar to some content that I saw on a large nonprofit's website. In the remote villages of Kenya, children eagerly dream of a brighter future, but many face insurmountable barriers to education. See, big words in this content. Impact Worldwide is stepping in. This is a made-up name. It's stepping in as a beacon of hope for these communities, tirelessly working to build schools and provide essential learning materials. Through dedicated efforts, Impact Worldwide is delivering quality education to eager young minds, offering them the tools they need to break the cycle of poverty. This transformative work by Impact Worldwide is creating a lasting impact that will resonate for generations. So a donor reads that paragraph and they think, Impact Worldwide does really cool work, but I don't see myself in the story. The donor feels detached from the narrative. The donor, what they're perceiving when they read that is that the organization is the hero. And there's the sole hero. They only talk about themselves. And the organization is capable of achieving great things independently from them. So what that creates in the donor's mind is a detachment. And the detachment prevents a personal connection to the organization. And so you might read that or write that, and you might think, well, I'm just impressing on the donor how important the work is that we do and how good of the job that we do with the work. And those two things are key as a part of fundraising to impress on the donor, right? That you do good work and that you're really good at what you do. But what you're doing when you do this is you're diminishing their sense of a contribution to the story. And you're making the donor feel like an outsider. You're not making the donor feel like they're part of the solution, which is what you need to do. And so if we were to rewrite that, and now this is still kind of higher education level reading. You want to rewrite this in more of a 6th grade level, but I rewrote it just to include including the donor as a part of the story. So in the remote villages of Kenya, children eagerly dream of a brighter future, but many face insurmountable barriers to education. Your generosity is the beacon of hope for these communities, enabling the construction of schools and the provision of essential learning materials. With your support, eager young minds are receiving quality education, giving them the tools they need to break the cycle of poverty. Your transformative contributions are creating a lasting impact that will resonate for generations, empowering these children to achieve their dreams. So when people tell you put you and your into the content, then this is what they're talking about, is putting you and your in there that will help a donor feel connected to the story. You might think, and we've tested this, organizations have tested this many times over, but we've tested using we. Does we work? And we could mean the donor and the organization. We're doing this together. And in testing, we doesn't work. We still, to the donor, when they're reading, it feels like you're talking about the organization and they're talking about themselves. the donor doesn't see themselves as part of the we. And so let's talk about, let's give you an example here. Impact Worldwide reaches underserved communities around the world with educational opportunities. Just a short statement. Any organization might write that. Again, Impact Worldwide is just a made up name. Now, if we were to rewrite that, you reach underserved communities around the world with educational opportunities. Now, this exact statement was on a webpage of an organization that I saw, and it was Impact Worldwide, or the organization's name reaches underserved communities. And you would change that to you reach underserved communities in order to insert the donor into the story. Your donation will help Impact Worldwide reach underserved communities around the world with educational opportunities. So, what's wrong with this statement? Well, what the donor is doing is they're just helping Impact Worldwide, but Impact Worldwide is doing the work. I would remove the help Impact Worldwide. And the reason I would is that it does negatively impact your donations. You will see less donations come in when the donor feels like they're just helping than when the donor is actually doing the part of being the hero in the story. Through your generosity, Impact Worldwide provides children and families around the world educational opportunities. So again, the through your generosity is a good statement, but through your generosity then just unleashes the organization. But your generous gifts provide educational opportunities to children and families around the world. So this is what we're talking about when people tell you, put you or your into the content, make the donor the hero. It's not about making the donor a savior. It's not that at all. It's what it's doing is making a donor a part of the story. And so when we say make the donor the hero, it's not giving them a savior complex. It's including them as a part of that transformation and including them in the story, because they're the ones that are providing these generous gifts for you to be able to do the work that you do. And so when you're making the donor the hero of the story, it's not about trying to just make them feel good. It's not about that at all. It's making them a part of the transformational story so that their lives are transformed through their giving, as well as your organization is transformed and your beneficiaries are transformed. So thank you for spending some time today to talk through donor positioning and how you can create opportunities to include donors in the story of your nonprofit organization.